All right, let's jump right into this explainer and build you an immortal shield support character for ESO PvP. If you've been grinding Battlegrounds or Cyrodiil and you're just constantly feeling like your heals aren't keeping your team alive under heavy pressure, well, you're in the right place. Today, we're completely flipping the script on how to play support. We're talking a frontline, ultra-tanky setup built for pure survivability that's going to make your group feel literally invincible. First things first, we gotta bust this massive myth that playing support always means, traditional healing. The huge roadblock in PvP is the Battle Spirit passive. It automatically nerfs your healing output, making it an absolute nightmare to recover a teammate's health bar once it tanks. So rather than fighting an uphill battle against that debuff, why not just prevent the damage entirely? Think of proactive shielding like the ultimate insurance policy. It's basically a gigantic extra health bar that completely ignores those annoying healing debuffs and completely shuts down enemy pressure. Seriously, if you play this right, by the end of a match, you're going to look around and see exactly what this quote is talking about. The enemy will be dumping all their ultimates, and your team's health bars, they literally won't even budge. Here is the roadmap for today. 1. The shield support concept. 2. Mastering your stats. 3. Choosing the right gear. 4. Essential shield skills. And 5. Positioning and survival. Let's get into it. Section 1. The shield support concept. So, unlike traditional healers who are always obsessing over boosting their healing done stat or stacking crit chance for those big burst heals, a true shielder plays a totally different game. Your power scales straight off your max magicka pool. Basically, the bigger your magicka, the fatter those shields get. That means all that complicated math with critical modifiers and spell damage, just toss it out the window. We are laser focused on maximizing that one core resource pool. Moving on to Section 2, Mastering Your Stats. And here is the absolute magic number you need to remember, 30,000. For a normal healer, 30,000 max magicka is pretty much the absolute ceiling, right? Go any higher and you're bleeding too much survivability or stamina. But for a shielder, that is your golden baseline. You absolutely need to hit this number, at a minimum, to make sure those shields scale up perfectly to actually protect your team. Now, once you've secured that baseline, you're going to supercharge it using your champion points. Make sure you slot From the Brink and Bastion. Bastion, in particular, is an absolute game changer for jacking up your overall shield strength. When you take that massive magicka pool and combine it with these CP nodes, you're turning a decent shield into an absolute brick wall for your group. All right, Section 3, Choosing the Right Gear. Let's talk about your armor weight. You're going to run a very specific split here. 3 heavy, 1 medium, and 3 light pieces. Why this weird combo? Well, because the heavy and light armor penalties and bonuses basically just cancel each other out. So you get to skip the major armor penalties while perfectly balancing that frontline tankiness with the magical sustain you need. It really is the ultimate sweet spot for a support who has to face tank-heavy attacks while still spamming magic abilities. Now for the actual gear sets. We're using Crafty Elfique to just massively pump our max magicka by 5.5k, which, as we know, directly inflates our shield sizes. Then we pair that with Brands of the Imperium, a heavy set that literally gives your whole group a massive shield just from you taking damage. Finally, we throw in Trial by Fire for some desperately needed reactive damage reduction. The synergy is beautiful, honestly. You've got huge resources fueling your active shields, backed up by automatic reactive defense. That brings us to Section 4, Essential Shield Skills. Okay, so before we slide anything, you've got to understand a totally crucial mechanic, smart targeting. In the pure chaos of PvP, this is a lifesaver. Abilities like Ward Ally from the Resto Staff line use this. It shields you and an ally, but the crazy part is it scales based on the target's missing health. So the closer they are to dying, the stronger the shield gets. And it automatically hunts down the lowest health teammate in range, even through walls. Seriously, as long as they're within 28 meters, you don't even have to aim it. You just see them dropping and you hit the button. And you're going to want to pair that Ward Ally with the Arcanist's Chalk Shield. This skill is honestly phenomenal. It drops this huge cone covering that same 28-meter range, and it reduces incoming damage to your existing shields by 30%. On top of that, it generates Crux, which really helps out your resource sustain. Just blanket your team with this wide angle, and suddenly all that incoming pressure is completely manageable. So what does the actual rotation look like when the swords start swinging? It's a strict 3-step rhythm. Step 1.
Pre-buff your group with Chalk Sealed before the big damage spikes hit. Step 2. Spam the absolute life out of ward ally on whoever is under pressure. Remember, it's smart targets, so just keep mashing it until they're safe. And Step 3. Heavy attack with your Resto Staff or Sword and Board to get that Majiga and stamina back. Stick to this rhythm, and you'll maintain an impenetrable defense without going totally broke on resources.
Finally, Section 5, Positioning and Survival. As any veteran PvP coach will tell you, sit upright, keep your head on a swivel, and whatever you do, do not get isolated. Look, this build isn't for the faint of heart. You are going to get targeted. You've got to play smart. Stay close enough to land those 28-meter shields, but far enough back that you don't get sucked into a massive enemy ultimate and wiped out with your DPS. If your team is pushing or retreating, you're the one turning back to shield the stragglers. Now, what happens when you're caught in a tight space, like fighting outnumbered in a Cyrodiil tower? You need a failsafe. Always keep Blood Altar active, specifically the Overflowing Altar morph. Think of it as your ultimate backup plan. If you get stunned or negated or even knocked entirely off the tower while you're kiting, this altar gives your group a massive burst heal synergy they can pop to save themselves while you're recovering. Honestly, it has saved countless groups from a total wipe. And please burn this rule into your memory. You want a 50% reserve target for both your Majeka and stamina. It is a constant balancing act. Make sure you're using those heavy attacks and craftable tripots to keep your bars safely above that halfway mark. Because think about it, if your stamina totally bottoms out, you can't block, you can't roll dodge out of a negate, and you're dead. If your Magicka drops, the shields stop and your team is dead. Keep it at 50%. So, now that you've got the whole playbook, here's the real question. Are you going to keep watching your teammates' health bars just vanish? Or are you ready to build a wall the enemy literally cannot break? Take this unkillable setup into Cyrodiil, watch those incoming damage numbers flatline to 0, and completely redefine what it means to play support. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I'll catch you on the battlefield.